What's up, Falcons Nation? It's your boy Jew coming at you with another Atlanta Falcons video. As always, Falcons Nation, rise up. In today's video, I'd like to talk about Kirk Cousins and can Kirk Cousins lead our Atlanta Falcons to a Super Bowl? But if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you know when I've done Atlanta Falcons content or NFL content. If you'd like to follow your boy on Twitter and Instagram, you can follow me at Jew Talk Sports. And if you'd like to donate to my channel, you can donate to my Cash App, which is the $ Jew Talk Sports. But with that being said, let's jump right into the video. So as I mentioned in today's video, I do want to talk about Kirk Cousins and can Kirk Cousins lead our Atlanta Falcons to a Super Bowl? Personally, I do believe that Kirk Cousins is a good enough quarterback to lead our Atlanta Falcons to a Super Bowl. Kirk Cousins, I put him in the top 10, top 12-ish quarterbacks in the NFL. He's not an elite quarterback, but I definitely think that he's one of those guys that's a Pro Bowl caliber quarterback, can be an all-pro here and there. But he is one of those guys that I do think is one of those guys that can lead this Atlanta Falcons team to a Super Bowl. When I think about Kirk Cousins, I put him on the same tier as quarterbacks like Matthew Stafford and guys like Jared Goff. To me, those guys play similar to his play style. And we've seen Matthew Stafford a couple years ago, go from the Detroit Lions, which is an organization that has, been a losing franchise, and him going over with Sean McVay in that LA Rams team, and in his first season being able to win a Super Bowl. We also seen Jared Goff play with the LA Rams, lead them to a Super Bowl and lose to the Patriots, but then turn around and go to the Detroit Lions and get them to the NFC Championship game last year and really resurrect his career with the Detroit Lions. But really, they should have been in the Super Bowl last year if they didn't botch, that game against the 49ers. But we've seen that he's even capable of making a deep playoff run. And when I think about those particular quarterbacks in Matthew Stafford and Jared Goff, I don't really feel like those guys are, that much more talented than a Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is one of those guys that I think is an elite processor when it comes to knowing where to go with the football. Him being a veteran, a guy that's been around and seen pretty much every defensive scheme you can throw at him. He is one of those guys that puts up really good numbers, a really accurate quarterback as far as throwing the football. And he's just really smart from the neck up, one of the smarter quarterbacks in the NFL. So I put him in that top 10-ish range, top 12 quarterbacks in the league. And I really feel like that's good enough to actually win a Super Bowl in the NFL, as long as you have, good coaching around you, good special teams, a good defense that gets turnovers at the right times. I really feel like we've seen lesser quarterbacks win Super Bowls in the NFL and, make Super Bowl appearances. So I do think that Kirk Cousins is one of those guys that is a great leader. We've seen that already, that he's came in and kind of stabilized the offense. We've heard through many camps, the coaches and players raving about him, as far as him taking them down to John Gruden's house where they, went over film and things of that nature. Him taking some of the receivers and running backs to go throw the football so he gets used to timing and things of that nature with these guys. And Kirk Cousins is one of those guys that's an ultimate professional. I did watch the Netflix series Quarterbacks last season when he was with the Minnesota Vikings, and it kind of showed what he does throughout his week as far as him being a true professional, and that he pours everything that he can into the game, both mentally and physically. It showed, him being bruised up and beat up during the season 2 seasons ago when they shot the Netflix series Quarterbacks. But it kind of showed, behind the scenes look at, him in his preparation throughout the week, getting ready for games and things of that nature, getting ready for practices. And show his family life and things of that nature. But I definitely think that he's one of those guys that's a proven quarterback and a proven commodity in the league. I just feel like he hasn't been on teams that were complete teams, but I really feel like this Falcons team is probably one of the most talented teams that he's been around. He did play with some talented Minnesota Vikings teams as well over the last couple years, but I think last year's team prior to him getting injured probably was the most talented offensive team that they would have had, being that they were able to bring in a guy in Jordan Addison. They had Jefferson out there catching footballs. But he's played with some pretty talented teams over there in Minnesota as well. So I definitely think that, Kirk Cousins is one of those guys that can win the big game, can make the right throws at the right time. And he's just one of those guys, like I mentioned, that's a true professional, a veteran that's been around the game. But I definitely think that he's one of those guys that could win a Super Bowl in Atlanta, definitely could make a Super Bowl appearance just from his experience alone, just from his ability to throw the football with anticipation in the pocket, and his ability to bring guys with him, meaning being a plus multiplier, making guys around him better. I think that's probably his strongest attribute. Is he's one of those guys that's a true professional, one of those guys that can, elevate other guys around him and make their games even better. And I really feel like we're going to see guys go to the next level this year. Guys like Kyle Pitts, who we've been waiting to see break out. Guys like Drake London, Bijan Robinson, and Tyler Algier. I really feel like everybody's going to benefit on the offense from having a quarterback that's experienced. But with that being said, this has been your boy Jew. I have a lot more content coming for you guys. But as always, Falcons Nation, rise up, be blessed. Peace.